That's what everybody needs, is just more podcasts to listen to.
There's so many podcasts,
Yeah, I gave up.
but I'm appreciative of those who's listening right now to ours. Uh,
Or are we on here right now?
I just hit
Whoops.
record. uh, so Randy, you were milking cows.
Yeah, I was playing Ark, milking cows.
Um,
I've got a bunch of cows and ducks and chickens and pigs and
are there dinosaurs in that
yep.
game?
Oh yeah.
No dinosaurs for you, just playing being a
No,
farmer.
there's dinosaurs too, but I just I've got my farm animals.
When is the second one coming out?
If it ever comes out.
I thought
Yeah, I
it
saw
came
like
out.
people like announced that like 4 years ago.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I thought it came out already.
No, they keep saying like 2 more years, and like the 2 years come by, and it's like, well, 2 more years.
Nice. They're taking a page out of Star Citizen's playbook just so I can keep delaying it. Fucking
Yeah.
20 years.
Like Vin Diesel is heavily involved with it.
Oh, fun.
So his company, his gaming company.
He has a gaming company?
Yep.
I did not know that. I know he's like super into D&D and stuff.
Yeah, he's super into Ark.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's apparently he said in interviews that him and his entire family play it.
Oh, that's fun. That's
So-
fun. Family time.
And they supposedly play on a random European Union server where no one knows who they are.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're over in Europe playing it.
Playing on the European servers, yeah.
Yeah, I played on the European servers. It's hilarious because everyone sounds like Flula Borg.
Oh,
That is something I would actually like if I had the money. That would be something I would do. Would be buying a game studio. That would be fun.
I feel like
When he put out the what was it called, Bloody Bay, Escape from Bloody Bay or whatever, the Chronicles of Riddick game that he put out like years back. That was the first game, if I'm not mistaken, that his company put out.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was him. I know he loves the Riddick character, so.
Oh yeah.
So we've gotten a bunch of movies, which aren't that bad either.
I love Riddick.
Yeah. It's a cool ass character. Well, if you're still listening, this is the 40 in Tennessee podcast. I'm Josh here with Houston and Randy. We're going to talk about cryptids and some high strangeness. Thanks for joining us tonight. We can't talk about it yet, but we have stuff in the works that we're excited about. So we're all kind of excited about some stuff. But that announcement will come later. Some point soon. Soon TM.
Yeah, so we keep on like expecting it get told no on some of this stuff, and it's like, yeah, we can make that happen. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's very funny the amount of times that Randy's like, I just reached out and yep. It's like, oh, we can do this. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm very excited about it. The people we're gonna get to work with and such.
Definitely.
But today, actually, before we get into the topic, you guys watching anything weird? Anything weird happen? Any reports come in?
Not to me.
No, nothing.
I watched the last episode of The Penguin.
It's a good episode.
It was a good episode.
That's such a good
Heart-wrenching.
series. Yeah, yes, it is.
Don't talk about it.
I'm not.
It's so good. It's
Just,
such a good series.
Oh,
They made such a good series out of that.
It's yeah, having a 2-year-old, man. I'm a year behind on everything.
You don't have time. You're going to bed early.
No, dude. I still want to watch Monarch. I
Monarch's
finally
great.
gave up. Yeah, I was gonna watch like Echo and all these things to get ready for the Daredevil, the new Born Again, and I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I just watched a recap, and it's like I'll just have to jump right in. So
Time.
I gave up.
I'm doing I've been watching Sopranos. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I've been watching through that, and watching it again. Like, it's been a very, very, very long time. Like, I watched it when it came out, and I was in like high school, and friggin',
I love that show.
It's so good, but then realizing that how many people are like named after pastas. And like,
We
uh,
talked
the-
about this the other day, didn't we? Or was it just like off screen?
I think it might have been off screen. I don't know. Did I talk
Yeah.
about it on the last podcast?
I don't know, because I remember I was going to say this. Like, it reminded me of Dragon Ball Z, where it's like everybody's like
Yeah, I might have.
Frieza,
Yeah, Frieza.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe I did talk about it last time. I rewatched Blade Runner. I forgot how good that movie was.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't care to watch that again, but I can listen to the soundtrack every day.
It's a slow
Yep.
movie.
Me too.
Yeah.
I watched the final cut, which is like kind of the better version of it. It's not as freaking long and stuff.
Yeah.
I've watched the director's cut, and you're just like,
How long is the director's cut?
I want to say it's like, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I did fall asleep in the second one, and I was more excited about it. Me and Kayla watched it, and she ended up finishing it. I'm just like, I'm going to sleep.
I really like the second one.
So I guess, Randy, you've seen The Sopranos?
Oh yeah, I love the Sopranos.
I've never watched that, but like I know enough about it. Like, what do you think happens at the end? Like, how do you think it ends, Josh? Spoilers, whatever. That
It's
show's
almost
like
20
30
it's
years
almost
old.
20 years old.
Yeah,
like
I
at
don't
that
even
point.
know. I don't even know how it ends. I like
You watched it before though, right?
I completely forgot. That's the other thing. It's been so long that I like completely forgot. Like, I know certain things that I remember that were really funny from it, but yeah, I completely forgot where it's going, and I've been like watching it. I'm like, I'm like, does Tony die in the end? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. So I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Yeah, don't spoil.
Yeah. Apparently, it's debated though, right?
Yeah, it's a big debate on what exactly happens.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about movies, like me and Randy always text and talk about this, but like I have been slowly going through all 30 Godzilla movies.
Oh.
So I finally up into, what is it? Godzilla versus Mothra? Is that like in 1990?
Sierra. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost watched -1 the other day,
Oh, it's so good.
Seen that?
and they put the black and white version on it.
Have you not seen it?
No, I haven't watched it yet. It just like, popped up on
Oh,
Netflix,
dude.
and I was like, oh, this looks badass.
Oh,
It's
it is.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's badass. Well, let's talk about other monsters. Today's topic is habituation. Brought to you, sponsored by Habituating, a Sasquatch site. So habituation in the community, if you don't know, is when you have a site where you've had an encounter and you keep going to that site, gifting, and kind of doing the same thing, almost like getting an animal used to you. It's kind of a highly debated topic in the community too. I don't know if it still is.
it kind of still is, to my understanding. Yeah.
Mm.
There's certain people that are 100% against it, and others are more open to it, like we are.
Now, why are
So
people
what's the
against it?
argument? Yeah, why? I don't
Well,
know
the
this.
argument is that if you habituate them, if you basically make them used to humans, and the big argument is gifting, is leaving them food. If you leave food, the argument is they're going to start expecting food from people, and that might put people in danger. Somebody going hiking down the trail that you're habituating a Sasquatch,
Fucking give me
and the
that chocolate
Sasquatch,
bar.
yeah, the Sasquatch wants a chocolate bar. Now, I personally,
laugh.
I guess I can kind of respect that opinion, but
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I guess if you're looking at these things like they're rank monkeys in the woods, that like a bear that gets used to humans and
Yeah.
feeding them and stuff, but I've seen no evidence of that being the case anywhere. And I've talked to a lot of people that claim to be habituating them. So,
Yeah, most times, even the only times that like there's like aggressive activity, it really isn't from whoever is habituating. it's just really just an aggressive family unit. From what like I've kind of come to the conclusion of through like the years of like encounter stories and all that stuff. Um, Most of the time, it's just like I don't know what it must be, even like a young male, trying to. I watched Chimp Empire, and I was like, maybe that's what's going on. Shows of dominance in the
Yeah.
area. Um,
I feel
That's
like
what a
that
lot of
would
people
make
think. Researchers think.
what was that, Houston?
no. That's Randy froze on us again.
Oh, gotcha.
Where was I before I crashed?
Um,
I think it was something about juveniles, young males.
that's what
A lot of times, a lot of researchers believe that when you're dealing with like aggressive stuff like that, what you are is you're dealing with a young adult male that's basically trying to, pull a territorial. Uh, I think that what you're dealing with is 90% of the time when you get these aggressive instances, it's just a family unit trying to get you out of the woods because they have young nearby. That is my personal opinion.
yeah.
Well, if it was true what they were saying about, like, again, the chocolate bar that they're going after, you would think that you would get a lot more sightings. Because I'm just kind of picturing, like, the way these monkeys do in Thailand
Yeah.
that will, like, maul your face off because they
Yeah.
want your banana. Like, it's so, I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. But you don't see that and you don't hear about that. I mean, we've fed ours for years now, and I've never had anybody, not that they'd know to come to me, but I mean, I've never heard of any. The Rangers have never come to me and been like, "Oh yeah, that there's crazy shit going on out on the trails."
Everybody's peaches are going to
Yeah.
disappearing.
Yeah,
Yeah, the funny thing about like the gifting stuff in the beginning, I was like, how do you know they take it, and stuff until we gifted, walked up the trail, came back, and it was all gone.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they
We
yeah,
left fruit one day, walked down the trail, went to where we wood knocked, got them wood knocking, and then came back down the trail to where we leave the food and gifted it and stuff, and the food was already gone.
yeah. It
And
was
that
like
was in a
within
span of, like, what? How many minutes?
it was like an
45,
hour.
45
Yeah,
an hour. Yeah.
and we had it like up high too. That was like the big thing is it's like we'll just hang it there. Uh,
I mean, like, what other animal could even get that? Like, a squirrel can't pick that stuff up. So, like,
No.
yeah.
No.
And we like most of the time, like Randy does it because Randy's the tall one. Puts it up high, usually like stakes it into a broken branch or something. So if someone to take it, you gotta like grab it and pull it off,
Yeah.
at height. Yeah, that's when it gets a little freaky when that happens. Then you're like, who the fuck else is out here?
Dude, I've walked over there before to leave fruit, and there would be a small pile of peach pits just sitting there at the bottom, like somebody sat there and chewed up the peaches and spit the pits out. Like,
It's probably exactly what they did too. Back on the like the aggressive behavior with the habituation, like, and what we're usually talking about with this type of behavior is usually there's like a certain setup for this. There is kind of almost a specific scenario, through these encounters, especially like in I don't know if I want to call them habituation situations, but like people who have like more rural homes or houses that are built out in the wilderness, and through these encounters, it's always the wife's at home with the kids, the husband's always away at work or something like that, not there all the time, and that's when a lot of activity can kick up, and that like usually ramps up to like an aggressive display at some point.
yeah, often, yeah.
Yeah, very. That's
You either
something
get
I've
an
noticed
aggressive
over the
display
years.
out of it, or you get one that's almost strangely protective.
Yeah,
It comes across like,
you have situations like with Lucy,
yeah,
communicating with that lady, showing herself, but not like anything aggressive, just more of kind of like a weird friendship, like
yeah,
um And then you have situations like the siege of Hanobia, where that went
Yeah.
sideways. That went crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know about the siege of Hanobia, it took place in Hanobia, Oklahoma. We happen to know the dude that was involved with that, and there were some Sasquatch that were living on the back part of the property. They were living in the mountains. The property was at the base of the mountain.
yeah, the back end of
Uh,
his property just goes down into a big like
yeah,
valley.
and the people who had lived there on the property before him had actually planted a ton of snow peas throughout the back part of the property, and did that for hunting purposes to draw in deer. Uh, this is where they think that while the Sasquatch were hanging out there so much was because they were hunting the deer, the Sasquatch were, and the deer were coming there for the snow peas. So it was just a conflict all the time in that area. And his kids come across these things, scared the crap out of them. These things will come up to their house, were breaking into their outside smokehouse and stealing meat,
Oh yeah.
venison, and stuff. And finally, what the siege actually happened was one night the family was sitting in the house and they looked out the window and one of these things was staring in the window, and they went to go get their gun, come out the front door, this thing was still walking off and like at a brisk but not trying to run away pace, and he shot him twice in the back. um
Yeah, he said he went down and then was wheezing and
yep
then got back up and like limped into the woods, and then he said the woods exploded.
yep his words, yeah, exploded into just screams and hollers, and
There was
uh
they
yeah,
attacked the house.
yeah,
They were throwing rocks and I mean good size stones that were hitting the house. I mean it got
yeah, it was crazy.
they were
And
shooting it out.
the BFRO went out there to check it out and
Yeah.
got so scared that the BFRO researchers that got sent there wouldn't stay there at the
Oh,
site.
really? So was
Yeah,
it so when the BFRO got there, like there was still stuff going on?
they found blood samples, dude. The BFRO did.
Oh, okay, where he shot
It's
him.
one. It's one. Yeah, where it got shot.
Didn't they get a
Uh,
gut? Is that where they got the gut sample? Was that from
the gut
another?
sample was in Louisiana.
Okay.
That was a GCBRO. That's a different group. Um, but they got blood samples on leaves from it. But these Sasquatch that were out in the woods, whenever this one got shot and managed to limp its way out there, they grabbed it up and took it. That's what
Hmm.
Mike said basically.
That's yeah.
And when was this?
2002, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it wasn't that far. It wasn't that long.
Is it 2002 or 2001?
Was there a 911 call too that goes along with this? I swear there was like
I'm not sure.
I swear there was a 911 call maybe. I might be thinking of another thing. Um
But after that happened, things got aggressive, like very aggressive there on their property. They were getting rocks thrown at them all the time. The things were scaring their kids all the time. Uh, got to where they said their kids couldn't even go outside and play in the woods anymore.
oh wow.
Uh, yeah,
So the kids were seeing him a bunch.
the kids were the first ones to see them. They were dead. They went to the river, was playing at the river, and they said that one of these things stepped out of the mountain laurel and growled at them.
Oh fuck.
That was kind of how it started.
Oof.
How terrifying would it be that you put 2 rounds in this thing and it just stood back up?
They went down to its knees the first time they got hit. He said,
Just down
and
to
he,
his knees though. Like,
yeah, but he said you could hear it go. It's like
Got him in the lungs.
gurgling.
Yeah.
Gurgling. Yeah, where it got shot in the lung.
Yeah, he probably collapsed the lung on it. Oh, and you know that's been like kind of a big topic that I've been like super interested in for a long time is people that live with them on the property. That's always been like a big fascination, a topic, because it's like the amount of people that we've met that have them on their property and are very either very nonchalant about it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's super interesting, and then you hear the stories like this where it can get out of hand. But like that's like the part of habituation that's like they're not people usually that are living there. They're not doing it intentionally.
Yeah,
Not like
exactly.
us who are going out there and doing it.
Yeah, we found a place that just has a hot spot of activity, and we're going out there and intentionally messing with them.
Now the other
Whereas most of these people, like you said, they don't have a choice. They live so rurally.
yeah.
They basically are living in these things' backyard.
Yeah, they're on
Uh,
their property.
yeah,
And there's been signs that like when we go by properties that are near the active sites that we go to and see like we've said before like driving by that you almost had that house by the quarry
yeah.
and like people cutting back the tree lines. There's certain telltale signs that start happening in the neighborhood that we look
Something's
for.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, pets start going missing.
There's a researcher out of Memphis that told me that Mike Landry, he told me how the property next to the what was his name Isaac Hayes,
Yep.
the Isaac Hayes house in Memphis, that the neighbors next door and there was Bigfoot activity on that property, but the neighbors next door had basically when they bought the house new cut the property back over a quarter of a mile back the wood line because they were so freaked out with all the stuff going on.
Oh my! Don't want them walking up on the house anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild message we had gotten when they wanted us to go out to the Isaac Hayes house to check that out. The construction guys were seeing some crazy stuff. The guys that were like renovating it and stuff because they were getting ready to sell it. That one was that was almost like that almost happening was very exciting because we were gonna like stay in the house for like a
Yeah,
couple
we're
days.
going out there. Yeah, we didn't get to, but we were going to.
Yeah. Now, what other stories or like encounter stories that do you know of, Randy? That like,
I mean, the most famous one from Tennessee, habituation wise, is Janice Carter.
mm. And where was
And
Janice at
that
during? Where was Janice's location for this time frame?
Madisonville, Tennessee,
Okay.
which is East Tennessee,
Okay.
near like if people want to know where that's near. It's like Tellico or Tellico Springs, I think it's called. Um, but yeah, Madisonville, and the story behind that, people don't know what that is. Her grandfather supposedly came upon a young male Bigfoot that was stuck under a tree that had fallen, and helped this young Bigfoot out from under this tree, and started this friendship that lasted for 50 years. That's what the book was called, 50 Years of Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go by her story, they were coming up to they got so habituated, they were coming up to the back of the house to ask for garlic cloves. The Sasquatch were.
Oh, they're just coming up and
They said they'd come to the back porch and put their hand out like this, and they were wanting garlic cloves.
huh?
Yeah.
What are some of the other like from Janice's like her history with this? Like she's
We should have Janice on sometime.
we should. Yeah, I know. That would be a long podcast. She'll go on. She's got a
She
lot.
will go.
Yeah. Which I'll sit and
You-
listen to. People would like
You
that.
can't get the book anymore, right? Like the book's out of
No.
print.
It's way
Yeah.
out of print. Yeah. Yeah, and the author, Mary Green, the woman that actually wrote the book, is dead now. So
Might be able to find it. I have to look around.
you can find it on Amazon sometimes, but they go for good money.
Oh. So, I mean Janice is the most famous like version of like the habituation, but I mean she grew up on it. Again, it goes to like imagine walking up on a Sasquatch trapped under a tree.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it'd be wild.
Like also
And
like
see, it makes me wonder like where we found trees in our area full grown trees, that are snapped over like a freaking toothpick about 4 to 5 feet up. no earthly explanation as to why this tree has failed. Like, it's not rotten, it's perfectly fine, just broken over as it is. Um, it makes me wonder, like, was that what was happening? Was this a young Sasquatch that was learning how to break a tree like that and broke a tree on top of him?
Yeah.
Like, why was there a tree on top of Fox? That's the name of the Bigfoot that supposedly,
Yeah. It must be. I mean, like, it has to be. Like, just to think, but like, just the scenario of walking out and being like, "What the hell's that sound?" and then finding a Sasquatch just under a tree. But then also just being like, "I gotta save this guy." That's. I mean, it's a pretty incredible story.
Oh, it's a crazy, incredible story. Yeah.
And then them coming up to the door. But I mean, like, if you listen to like native, folklore and stuff, they talk about the people of the woods coming out and trading with them and stuff.
Once upon a time, yeah.
Yeah.
The Cherokee talked about the stone men, and that they would trade with them.
I want to know what the Sasquatch gave in return.
Supposedly, according to a lot of the old stories and stuff, it was medicinal stuff. That you
Like
would
herbs
basically like they would find the natives would leave a quarter hind leg or something like that of like a deer that they had killed, or the liver was another thing, the liver of the deer that they killed, and in return they would find the next day like a medicinal bundle of plants that would be left for them, and this medicinal bundle would be for something that was like somebody in the village was sick of. This would help them, and so it made it sound like that the Sasquatch, knew medicine, at least natural medicine.
Have we ever brought a deer liver out? We've never done that.
I've not. I've left meat out, but I've never left a deer liver. And when I left the meat out, they never took the meat.
Okay.
They've taken tons of fruit and vegetables. They've never taken meat when I left meat out.
Was it raw meat?
It was raw meat.
Now the other part of our primary site is a like very interesting site due to the fact that it was habituated way before we were there.
Yes. Yeah, that's the deal with ours. Ours were habituated based off where they're living.
So, like, in my head, they're just used to people, the ones we're dealing with, for the most
Yeah, that's
part.
what I feel too.
Which is just
they're
like,
so used to
so
people
lucky.
and humans that when I think this is the way I feel when they found out that we realized they were out there, and the fact that like we are who we are, like we've been on that site so much, they kind of was just like, okay, fine, just let them be. Like
they're gonna look for us.
They're gonna look for us, play along, we'll have some fun with them.
We'll wood knock here and there, get them excited. Because that's the other thing is like the years that this site that we go to has had people on it, staying there. Even us, we were there before we even knew they were there.
Yeah. Over a decade, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Sorry. Just like because that site had kids on it a lot, and it's just like part of me is I wonder if they really stay hidden because maybe when they did, kids saw them, kids were freaking scared, so they like kind of just keep watch.
I don't know. It creeps me out knowing that they're up there, and having seen like I've went up there during the week, tons right over the years, when there would be church groups and other groups that are up there near the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be kids out in the woods. I came across this one little girl who was out in the woods by herself reading the Bible. And she was just like out in the middle, and people can say whatever they want to about that. That was keeping her safe or whatever. But like
I mean, she was just out in the woods. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just out in the woods by yourself. Like just keep an eye on your kids if you go to church camps and stuff like that. It's like
Yeah, those especially this area we're in. It's like the woods just go on. like
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
like,
If she'd have went the wrong way and got off trail,
yeah,
she would have been in some danger, like serious danger.
or got hurt or something like that.
Yeah.
Again, we've got lost up there, and like we was finally like begrudgingly, he's like, okay, let's get out our phones and see how to get back to the main trail. Like it is easy to get turned around out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think like because there's other places like is it Yellowstone? There's rangers from Yellowstone that got interviewed that were talking about they call them the hooligans. I think I've talked about this before. They run through
I've
the
heard
site.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's part of me that's just like at these campsites, like they know to stay away. I'm just so curious what the antithesis of that was. Like, what was the spark of we have to avoid the hairless ones?
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it's viruses and stuff. Bacterial
Yeah,
infections, stuff like that. Like,
they're dirty. We're all
yeah,
dirty.
maybe.
That makes sense. All right, so what else can we talk about with habituation here?
Is it connected to where you would say like where we go out and we used to get knocks and then we don't anymore? Like, I mean, would you consider like the places that are like knocked out? Ain't that what they refer to it as, that term?
Knocked out. Yeah.
Is
When
that like
when you don't get much activity, that kind of activity anymore.
is that like similar? Do you feel like in that vein or no? Because I mean, we talk about that we've went up to some of our primary sites and like I've been going for a while and it's been years since I've heard something in that same area.
Yeah.
It's like they don't.
Um, I don't know. Um, but I mean, I've heard so many researchers talk about areas getting knocked out. Uh, that I think after a while, once they even if they play along with you like they do at ours sometimes, um, especially how they used to do back in the day. But like I think after a while, they realize that it's probably not in their best interest if you keep coming and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. It's not in their best interest to keep doing that shit. Uh, and they'll slow up and stop doing it, at least to a degree. Um, because all they're doing when they play along like that, I froze up. If they're playing along like that, all they're doing is inviting you to come into their home and bother them.
Yeah. Which
Do
we
you think they always know, or do you
I
think
think
that
they know before you ever get in the woods.
do what?
I said I think they know before you ever get in the woods.
Yes, sir.
Like they know you're there.
I just
Just
wondered
from
if
listening to animals.
like they thought it was someone else, like another one of the Sasquatch knocking instead of us three.
Oh no, I don't think that they for a minute that they think that we're another Sasquatch. Well, hold on.
that's hold on.
Okay, yeah, because when we found our area, because I went down a certain trail and started knocking indiscriminately on trees every so often, and we got a knock back finally. And that day that knock came back, we heard what sounded like an exasperated like that off in the woods. And I've often wondered if that was like the Sasquatch walking up and being like, shit, it's not one of us. Um, so like maybe you can trick them, wood knocking like that and make them think that it's somebody else, one of their own. And we've done that on Cardwell before. Me and Gato have knocked on Cardwell and got 4 other responses across the mountain. And I don't think they knew that we were humans, based off our knock. But I don't think you get into these areas like where they're living like that without them knowing you're in the area.
It's like
Maybe they thought
when we went to the primary site and we did the first big 10 days there. And that first day we talked about it before, showing up and we were in the cabin and that tree right outside the cabin knock. They got a knock like 50 feet from us.
Yeah.
It scared the ever living shit out of me.
Yeah. They were letting us know they were there.
Yeah, they did, and it was like they're right there. We had been on site maybe 20 minutes.
Not long at all. We were unpacking.
Yeah. So that was they usually know when you're coming into the site. That's where it's kind of creepy.
That site especially, they've got that site on. They've always got eyes on that site. I'm 100% convinced.
So that's why, like, with what we're gonna be doing, what we're planning for, I'm like kind of excited because we haven't been there, habituating the site for a while.
Not to the degree we were doing it. Yeah.
Because you've only gone up there a handful of times in the past, like, few years.
A handful of times in the past year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when you took a news lady up there.
Yeah.
You got a wood knock response then.
We got 2 wood knocks, yeah. We got one on one side and a response on the other.
That's awesome. I love that happened.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to.
So I'm hoping that, like, maybe a little bit of a reset on the site when we get back down there to do what we're gonna do. So hopefully we'll get, like, a good encounter. That'd be awesome. Get some good footage.
Well, they come right up to the freaking cabins there.
Yeah.
So.
Now, it's pretty divided, like the habituation versus not, right? It's like a pretty 50-50 with the community. I mean, there's also, like, a third, like, part of the community, which is like just shoot them all and let God sort them out community too.
I know several of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But just if you had that chance, Randy, to have that type of relationship, that type of friend, like, kinship with, like, a Sasquatch. Like, what do you? I don't even know how to ask this question. Like, what do you? How all in would you go? If you had that opportunity to be like, would you be at that site every day?
I mean, I'd be up there as much as I could be.
Like, if they walked right up to you and had your hand out for peaches, I think, I would go there.
If it walked up to, here's the question. If it walked up to you with its hand out and you had nothing, what do you give it?
Oh, dude, look, me and Gato were up there one day, and we had been taking fruit up there for weeks, twice a week at least. And we got up there one day and had them knocking, like, right off from us, not far at all. And we went to go we're like, okay, we're going to put your food out. We went to go put the food out, and literally the backpack that Gato was wearing had a hole in the bottom, and all of the fruit had fallen out. So, like, we're a mile and a half back in the middle of nowhere, talking to the woods about how we're about to feed them, and suddenly we ain't got nothing to feed them. And Gato was all freaked out because he's like, "Oh my God, they're gonna get angry."
That's the first point to be like,
nothing happened.
You got to give yourself, man.
So
that's it, like.
So again, when people talk about, if you do that long enough, you're going to make them dangerous. Nothing happened. They didn't come after us because we didn't have their snickerdoodles. None of that happened.
Now, isn't there a site that's down? Is it Oklahoma? There's a place, maybe it's Texas. There was a couple got killed. There was a guy who had his, like, neck twisted backwards, and everyone was like, "You don't go there because the Sasquatch is super aggressive."
Brownsville, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's a researcher who that's his primary.
That's a deep cut, man. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, I know that one. I know that story. It's a good one. It's freaky.
Yeah. And supposedly they got DNA evidence back from the woman, because there was a woman that was killed and she was assaulted.
Yeah.
And it came back, primate type A or whatever.
Yeah, and nobody, like most researchers wouldn't go there. There's a researcher who does that's his primary site, and he gets like tons of activity, nothing aggressive.
Yeah,
But the incident with the people getting killed though was in the 90s.
I think it was in the 80s. I think.
Was it the 80s?
Yeah, it was back there.
Yeah, they found them. Both were killed. Woman was assaulted, and the guy was found laying halfway in the water with his head completely twisted around.
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's freaky.
That didn't really involve habituation, to my knowledge, but
No, that incident. No, but it's just like you never, like, even when we go out for like, days on end, you don't know what's going to happen. You never know what the hell you're going to deal with. And think about the amount of years we're on this, been doing this, right? There has to be a changing of the guard in the Sasquatch. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's
I've
going to
thought
be
about
new
that.
ones,
Yeah.
and they're going to be different. Like we always say, like Jazz was the juvenile when we first started this, and then I've been thinking recently is like Jazz is probably a mama now.
Probably an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
So,
they go by any other primate,
because primates can live till like
maturing and all that.
They can live for a long time, right? They can live.
Oh yeah.
Into the 50s, right?
And if you look at these things, as being some sort of like archaic human, there's evidence, that the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, they didn't age the way we age. They didn't have an adolescent. They didn't have an adolescent period.
Really?
They went straight from childhood to adulthood. And so they reached adulthood at like 12 and 13, 14 years old.
Oh, okay.
So we have much longer life cycle than Neanderthals and Denisovans did. So if there's something like that, these things could reach maturity, pretty quick.
Because, so going back to like Janice, there was like young Sasquatch too, right? That she was around. She saw the whole family unit.
Yeah, she eventually, talked about seeing. Let's see, there was Fox, Sheba.
Yeah, I forget the name.
Fox, Sheba, Blackie was one of the young ones that she talked about, and Blackie is the one that infamously, supposedly assaulted someone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, assaulted a woman. I can't remember her name, but like I did some research into that actually. Like we could never find the woman that supposedly was in Moccasin Bend from that assault, but Blackie supposedly assaulted her.
Gotcha. Huh.
Yeah, that's our local asylum for those that don't know Tennessee.
Yeah, Chattanooga.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's just like an interesting like thing. It wasn't until like a couple years in that you were like, people don't like what we do, and I was like, what do you mean? You're like, we're habituating the same site, and I was like, I didn't even know that was like a thing. I was like, I thought this is what you do when you look for Bigfoot. You find a site where they're at, and you just keep going to it.
Pretty much, yeah, that's what you should do. Well, I don't understand like a lot of these researchers that like the researcher tourists, like the ones that like they find out about like a hot spot and they go to it once, and they go to another state once, and they'll go to another state, and they'll go to and it's like, what are you hoping to accomplish with that if you're not staying in the area for a significant amount of time? The likelihood of you experiencing anything is going to be, limited.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, when we first started this, I mean, that was your big thing, was like, if we do this, like, we have to stay on the site for, X amount of days just to, like, see, like, you got to give yourself enough time see if something happens the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Houston, you got any questions, man? Come on, give me a question about this.
I don't have anything right now. Like I said, to me, it just makes sense that you would be out there. It's almost like getting them used to you. It's you letting them know, like, hey, we're friendly. We're not trying to come out here and pester you. We're not trying to come out here and hunt.
Yeah.
You know, it's those type of things where, to me, it's just kind of weird that there would be a different section of people that believed that, oh no, you shouldn't even be. You know, it's like, what do you expect? Then you're just going to be out here and like accidentally get a peek of one.
Yeah. I mean, that's I
Well,
think
it
that's
feels like some think, yeah.
just hoping for the the tree peak or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it like that the first expedition. Like it got to the point we were feral on the site. We were just like no shoes, running through the woods, like any sign. Like by day 8 and 9, we were just like everywhere. We didn't give a crap. We were like, we know you're here. Like,
What was it? We were only up there for a couple of days whenever they came up to site and started knocking behind A and B section.
yeah, you were in the shower.
Yeah.
And I was literally, I had my camera hooked up to the laptop so I could get it. I was transferring all the footage from the night before to the hard drive so I can get all the cards ready for that day, because it was only about like early morning, or it wasn't. It was like mid morning when this happened. And you were in the we're in the big tavern. You were in the back in the shower, and I was out front. And I was just kind of like looking outside, and all of a sudden I just started hearing like a wood knock, and I'm like, that might be just a tree branch falling. And then I heard one on the other side, and then it just kind of kept going. And I'm like, they think I'm here by myself right now. And that's when I like went into the back. I was like, Randy, they're here. He's like, who?
Yeah, I was literally in the shower. I'm like,
Yeah.
who are you talking about?
I'm like, the Sasquatch. They're wood knocking outside of A section. Then we went out there, and they were kind of quiet, but we could hear them like on the lake trail.
Yeah. But they started knocking back and forth like A and B section. Like we would go to B section and they would stop knocking in B section and knocking A section. And so we'd walk back over to A section and then start knocking at B section. And it's like, these motherfuckers are
They're like, can we
ping
get them to
ponging
walk
us.
back? Yeah, can they get them to walk back
Like,
again?
so
I mean, I always think that I always worry that they think my camera's a gun.
I think they know what a camera is. I really do.
That's the other thing.
I don't know how,
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna hide
they know a
it in
camera's
like
something.
a box or something like that. Like I'm carrying something that they can't see it. It'll be a crate of fruit. We'll get real old school. It'll be like a big crate of fruit, and we'll put the camera inside looking out so they think it's a.
You can leave a camera where you leave the fruit.
We've done that. We left the camera in the. I've got a little Bigfoot, stuffed Bigfoot. That's like a little tiny thing. But I used to put a recorder, not a camera. Sorry, I put a digital recorder inside that in the back of it, and we would leave it there with the fruit. And one time, 45 minutes after we leave the fruit, you hear something snapping twigs and shit as it walks up. You can hear it just as plain as day. Something walk up to where the fruit is, and then the freaking digital recorder goes off.
Mhm.
So never got an explanation as to like, did the thing reach up there and turn the thing off? Did it
Batteries go out? Yeah.
the batteries go out like did it zap it the way that they can do batteries? Because they can do that. I don't know how they do that, but they can zap a damn battery and make it dead like that. I hate being able to say that. Like,
You said that very nonchalant.
yeah, it sounds crazy. Like, oh, they can drain batteries. Sure, man. But it's like, I don't know how they do it.
They haven't drained. When I was up on site with my camera, my batteries were fine. I will say that about my batteries. I will say anything that took like double A's and shit, that's where I was getting a lot of like power drain was happening. I was going through batteries left and right, like double A's and triple A's for the audio equipment.
Tomorrow night's the full eclipse. If you're gonna go out there, Randy.
Do you remember that idea we had? Or you had? for the eclipse, the full eclipse.
What's that?
You were like, let's do a bonfire, and then we'll do this whole like music and stuff. And like to draw them out, we were having fun one night talking about like how can we get them to come out of the wood line, and like at the eclipse, and then like we act all crazy and stuff like around the fire, and then when the eclipse happens, we put on like ape masks, and then we like like just to freak them out when the sun comes back up.
So I'm saying, what is it? The lunar eclipse tomorrow?
Yeah, I think
It
so.
lasts like 2 or 3 hours though.
Yeah.
It'd be real dark out there. I've been on that trail at night at like 2 a.m. It is dark.
Yes, it is. That trail is no joke late at night, especially when you're like 2 miles back up in there, and
it's real. It's really tense.
Yeah.
Cause like, and like even when we went up, when we were doing like the night hikes and stuff, it was like we had like blasting like flashlights, and it was just like you just got the pool of light what you got.
Yep. It looked like daylight, like whatever we shining it on.
Yeah, but it was like we get far out there. I'm like, how's the batteries on the flashlights? How's the batteries on the flashlights?
Yeah, night hikes are interesting up there.
Yeah, they're so quiet for the most part. Oh. Exciting stuff. Anything else? You got anything else on habituation? I don't know if we really discussed this. Do we discuss these topics, or we just like ramble on? We say this is the topic, and
we ramble a lot, yeah, but that's fine. It shows we're honest about it.
Yeah, we're just like I've said before, like we're just some goofballs trying to figure out if there's an ape in the woods, just trying to find him. Yeah. I think that's it for tonight then, guys. Unless you got anything else.
No, I just sit back and learn from this one, so I didn't have nothing to comment. Like, this was me learning too.
Have you done a night hike yet? Houston?
Do what?
Have you done like have you gone out on like a night hike?
No.
Squatching? You will be.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
You will be.
Maybe.
I'm excited to get out there at night again. Like I'm excited.
There's no way I could do it by myself. I don't even know how Randy during the day. That's just a little bit too far out there. Where again, it's like you run into a snake or anything. It's like you're in bad shape. Like
yeah. If you were to walk into a bear, out there, you're in a very unfortunate place.
I've never seen any like wildlife up there other than the deers. When
I've seen a couple snakes and a possum, a big fat possum once.
Nice.
Like right there where we would knock. He came crawling out of a root ball and was just happy as could be.
He's like, the Squatch ain't here, man.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how we felt. We're like, well, if he's here, they're probably not here.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's this week's episode, guys. Thanks for listening. If you have any encounters or questions for us that you'd like to share with us or have us answer or discuss, please email us. We have the email at the end of the episode and in the description. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah,
I want to hear other people's stories from that are listening here.
I would love to get some emails and read some like listener stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or even just questions and stuff. If they have any topics. Wildman Crypticon, August 16th, McMinnville, Tennessee. Tickets are up on Eventbrite.
Yep.
Get your tickets, guys. We got a great lineup.
We do. We have an awesome lineup.
Yeah. Great vendor hall, great lineup of guest speakers. Did you announce the newest one?
The newest speaker?
Yeah, the newest
speakers. I did Friday. Last
okay.
Friday.
Okay, you did.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm doing them every Friday.
All right, cool.
We've got 2 more to go, I think.
That's what I was going to ask.
I don't want don't want to put it out there yet if you haven't announced it.
I mean, the Eventbrite has everybody on there.
Oh.
So if
guys,
you go to the Eventbrite, you'll see all the guests that we have. We've just on the Facebook, we've only went to like, I think 7 of the 9 guests we have.
And those are just the speakers, right?
Speakers, yeah.
Yeah. We got 9 speakers, and we're going to have other guests that are there that have been speakers at the convention before in prior years, to say in prior years, because this is going to be our 3rd one, which is wild that we're at our 3rd one.
It is wild.
It's wild. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for listening. Catch you guys next week. Peace.
See ya.